and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
So hello there everyone and welcome. In today's short video presentation, I want to talk to you about a very important message, a topic of awakening to the big picture. What is the big picture really? As you know, in the past 8 to 9 years, I was sharing so many video messages, and just recently I've shared with you that I'm kind of like retiring from this purpose of sitting with you here for hours and hours and discussing different topics, because the foundation has been laid. We are now in this beautiful new year. We are beginning a new cycle, and it's time for everyone to start really digging deep into the awakening of what's happening, not just within themselves, but in this planet and beyond. So in the name of that calling, I wish to share with you a sacred book. Today, I've received this special book. It came from a divine companion. I actually received this as a gift. And I was actually browsing through some books recently because a friend of mine has shared with me this work called The Voyagers. There's 2 volumes of books from Ashiana Dean about the Voyagers, and that material is kind of old, retro, and it wasn't, available in my country, where I live in Europe, and I couldn't access it. But then I was looking a little deeper, and I found another book that truly compelled me, that pulled me in. And as you know, I only read that which somehow comes to me through spirit. It's really that which sort of feels like it has the essence of truth, of something deeper than most of what we're being presented with in this realm. Because there's so much awakening to reality without people asking themselves, what are we truly waking up to? Is this the truth, or is just another brush of illusion and sugarcoating within the different veils that are being presented to us through many facets and streams of information that are continuously pouring through? So this book, the moment I received it, and it was quite a surprise, because I actually said, well, you don't need to send me the book, just keep it, but it sort of, probably had to come to me anyway, because the moment I got it and I put my hands on it, I started to shake, I started to tremble, and it was the excitement that I already felt. I just opened it and I felt so much information pouring through already. I didn't even start to read it. It was all these different graphs and sketches and charts and bold letters. And I love books, I've shared this with you before, that have a sort of like a nutshell, getting to the core, getting to the bottom of things very subtly but very deeply. It's almost like we don't have to read and study complex materials of hundreds and thousands of pages to get to the core of the truth. The truth is usually very simple, and that means it has to be presented in a simple way. Although there can be complex aspects that not everyone will understand, and that's one of the reasons why my main messages that I've shared freely here on YouTube with you were very specifically simplistic and pure and abstract in many of the ways, because each seeker of truth has to delve deeper on their own by themselves into that which is sort of like a nature of things that you have to study a little deeply, a little more deeply. Otherwise people get scared. They tend to have fear over the let's say concepts they don't yet understand and cannot comprehend. So there's a lot of tension and fear built there. So many years ago I've shared with you a book called The Prism of Lyra, which is a fantastic book, but it's a good book to start with, discovering your own earth roots through the ancestral unpacking of the galactic heritage that we all sort of have, as this galactic ancestry where we come from. And it's quite a different undertaking of this journey. And for me, Spirit in a lumen form always presents a union of the earthly and that which is what we would call more galactic. So there's an evening out, there is a coming into a closure, there is a balancing, and this agenda, which is the illumination that occurs when realities are merging and converging, is the purest form of, if we can even call it, an agenda. And in parallel, there's so many other agendas that exist simultaneously that are continuously covering the eyes of so many who are ignorant of truth, which means unwilling to learn and to discern on their own through that learning process, which is figuratively speaking and literally speaking, an inward and external process. So there are so many works right now that are not all presented from the highest vantage point. And, you know, people use all these different wordings, you know, like, I'm receiving this from this channeling, from this group, from this council, from that. In this book, actually, that I'll present to you today, it is distinctly through the narrative of using these languages, right, presented what these actually mean, because a lot of people just tune into the messages without knowing the background of the whole nature. I have another book before I start presenting this one today, and this will be again a very short video. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just presenting you an opportunity for greater, deeper insight and growth on your own, because, you know, it's kind of like where the work is right now. Sorry. I have a little hair in my eye. So anyway, the other book I want to reference to you is The Occult Nature of the Human Body by Manly P. Hall. It is the occult wisdom of our anatomy and understanding our own bodies. What are they actually all about? How does the etheric form function through our physical form? So few people actually get to study that. And so many times people are afraid of that, and they're accusing us of going down into the rabbit hole, which is like, you know, most people prefer sleeping in a tiny box, unwilling to dive out of that well, you know, that enclosed space where you're actually being manipulated from all sorts of angles, and your eyes are covered with either half-truths or concepts that are still making you just go around in circles, and many times making you quite ignorant. So that book is beautiful, because just yesterday I was reading about the difference that most people are not aware of, which is the difference between being a medium and a true clairvoyant, which is an inner knower. You know, a clairvoyant, like it's stated in the book, is not born, it is created, because you do that through the workings of art called inner illumination. So what I teach as the illumined truth is a working as a process. You don't become illumined overnight. You really have to work for it. You have to rise the vital life force that rests almost like a sleeping, restfully protected at the bottom of your spine, and you have to rise it upwards with the coiling serpent, moving it to the brain canal or cavity where illumination truly occurs, so that you can really start tapping into the truth and learning through your own discernment, due to true clairvoyant abilities, discern what is right, what it isn't. In comparison to that, a medium is actually being impulsed through the solar plexus, receiving oftentimes messages of discarnate entities, essences of life, who are actually using their voices of expression through us if we're not aware. So many people who believe themselves to be psychic, as I've shared so many times before, are just mediums for various stages of awareness of these energies that don't always work within a unified complex of truth. Truth as in a unification, right, of very different faculties, but all presented within a unified perspective. This is where many dangers and especially hoaxes of the New Age nowadays lie. So it is time, my beloveds, to start doing the awakening process, not just saying that you're awake, following different videos, materials, not knowing where this information is coming from. I never say what I do is channeled in any sorts of entities or beings. I'm simply receiving from the illuminator of my own being, and as a part of the oversoul of the Illumin group that I myself belong to. So the moment I got this book and I held it in my hands and I opened it where the index is, I right away saw my number, which is always my guide. It's been with me most of my life, and it's number 27. And I instantly see the title Founder Races. So this is where I started to browse the material forth. It's an amazing book, truly, guys. It's called Angelic Realities, the Survival Handbook. It truly is all about surviving within in the truth, and I didn't read it yet. I'm really just plunging into it. But the moment I went through it, and it's like, wow, this is such a gift. This is a synthesis of all that, you know, we might believe ourselves to know about certain galactic things and natures, you know, heritages that we actually know nothing about until we do this work. Okay, so first there is a preliminary work of rising the life force, doing that work, moving deeper. You will eventually all be called to do Galactic Heritage work. Every single being who will come and step into their own illumination will be required to do this work. But prior to that, what we believe is work at the galactic levels is just our mind and infatuation, and what we might perceive from the environment, or impulses of the lower level in nature through the plexus. And it's not that easy for us to discern that before we're truly illumined. So we're quite in a pickle, right? So I really recommend you this book. I want to present you just quickly some of the things. So I want to read you this. What have I found? It talks about different races, right? Founder races, guardian races, but also who are those races who are influencing with their own agendas. I've been talking about these agendas, different agendas, so many years, and people still don't quite get it. I think it's just, it doesn't concern them, right? But it does. It talks about different forms of contact, DNA mostly, because the sun here in this book is described, it means DNA. Who are the visitors? Where do they come from? Different things, like, so it has representatives of the Guardian Alliance, representatives of the two competing intruder visitor groups, all these things. But again, it talks about where we are now, how these groups who are actually guardians are helping, how they're assisting, especially now in these transition years. It's very, difficult for people to see the big picture. And here you have the big picture. I'll read you this. The big picture is hybridization is the reason for abduction. There's 3 contemporary hybridization programs: the Black Suns, not reference to skin color, of course, the Beryl Suns, and the Diamond Suns. Black Suns, Zeta Draco's human, several reptilian types, primary Nephidim, began recent in the 1930s. Then we have Beryl Suns, Anunnaki human, several types, primary Nephilim, Nibirian, began actively from 75 to 98. Then we have Diamond Suns, original human, several types, primary indigo children, of course, also the crystal children, but basically different advancement types from the similar agenda to unify. They began slowly in the 1900s to 500,000 here, more coming into 2000, between 2012. We know them as millennials, right? But there were many of us who were the preliminary seeds that needed to be here before the great flux of these children. So 500,000 and more. To understand contemporary hybridization agendas, we need to understand the history of stellar hybridization on Earth. Then it talks about the CDT plate discs, the Emerald Covenant records, the Emerald tablets of the 264,000 BC and so on. So we have the ancient roots of the one world order. We have then the founder races. Here we have the Diamond Sun, Human Gray Alliance, Beryl Sun, digressive hybrid lines, Black Suns, digressive hybrid lines. We have different charts for the DNA 12-strand matrix, 24-strand matrix, 48, and how this is influencing our reality. We have also the Black Sun, the 10-strand reverse DNA matrix. So there's so much knowledge for us to yet comprehend, but each one of us has to do inner work first. So if you feel ready, if you feel called, it's very important for us to do this work. We have here Agenda 1, Diamond Sun Vision, and then we have also Agenda 2, the Beryl Sun Vision, and some of the ways that they're actually influencing this reality. So goals of the 1 Diamond Sun Vision are to unify the races in freedom and promote healing of the mind, body, spirit, and planetary system, so Earth may enter the interdimensional association of free worlds. So they're also orchestrating the Indigo Children hybridization programs run by Elohi, Emerald Order, Melchizedek Cloister, ultra-terrestrial families, Lyran, Syrian, Anuhazi, who are the whites, Sirius B, Azurite, Blues, Oraphim, and Tyrannuasium. I don't know how to read this. Humans of Tara and other universal guardian races, including peaceful members of the aggressive races seeking to heal and evolve. So there's also jumpers, right? Then we have this Agenda 2, who are presently using, this is one of the most important things I've been teaching through the years, they're using the New Age movement distorted Ascension teachings to create partial DNA acceleration for covert matrix translate in humans. So it makes you stay almost like at a certain level, but it's not really totally developed level. They hold one world order agenda, often use religious idols, angel communications, and starship displays as contact methods. Associated with the Syrian, Anunnaki, Pleiadian, Nibirian blondes, Nephilim, Anu Melchizedek, some digressive Zeta and Azurite Syrians, Arcturian, Andromeda, and Orion visitor races are attempting to lead human Illuminati government away from draconian contracts to run their own one world agenda. Often they use names and appearances of legitimate guardian visitors for contact and infiltration. So there's so much more in this book. I don't want to read more because it's very windy here and today and cold. I wish to, with this message, engage you to do the inner work of illumination first, and then start, you know, building roots to seek deeper, to go beyond the norm. Because of course, the moment we start to question the status quo and go deeper, we will create resistances in this world, because that's the way collective is built. It resists that which is new and meant to unify and assist. So, but we got to do the work anyway. So that's me tuning in and tuning out today. I hope you enjoyed this message, and I do these Galactic Heritage readings now with Spirit Channel messages for our process also on Patreon now. Last month, well, this month actually, I did the first one. It was very good. It was a very playful reading, and people enjoyed it very much. So we will go into these things, and nature's there, and I will share much more as always with my Patreons, because my work continues there. I really had to share this message for those of you who are continuously going to come to this pivot point of not knowing where to move ahead. Usually it means the change of applying more information that is true, genuine, is needed. And usually when things like that come into reality, you're being invited, you're being called by Spirit, and you're here to do this work. So my beautiful family of light, I greet you with my warm-hearted space here, as always, with love, wisdom, and power. Take care of yourselves and enjoy this beautiful new astrological year ahead. Bye-bye, my loves.